Have you ever stopped to think about what makes The Lord of the Rings such a captivating masterpiece? It's not just Frodo's epic journey or the heroic battles. The true magic lies in the peoples that inhabit Middle-earth, each with their own history, powers, and secrets. From the wise elves to the humble hobbits and the fearsome orcs, the richness of the races created by J.R.R. Tolkien is as complex as it is enthralling. But beware. What you think you know might just be the tip of the iceberg. The origin of the elves hides mysteries that few are aware of. Men have a destiny that goes beyond mortality, and even the seemingly peaceful hobbits have an unexpected heroic side. And it doesn't stop there. There are dark secrets about the creatures that serve evil, and even about the very wizards who walk among mortals. Get ready, because what you're about to discover will change your perception of Tolkien's mythology. Let's dive deep into this universe, uncover secrets, and explore the connections between these diverse yet interconnected races. Are you ready to understand how these stories not only shaped Middle-earth, but also hold surprising lessons for our own world? The journey begins here, and every word carries a fragment of wisdom. Together, we'll unveil what makes each race in The Lord of the Rings unique. After all, what's at stake is much more than just a ring. From the dawn of time, when emptiness was absolute and silence reigned, there was Eru Ilúvatar, the great creator. He not only brought existence into being, but conceived the harmony that would give life to the universe. Through a sublime song, Eru summoned the Ainur, angelic spirits, to sing together a melody that would shape the world. It was a concert of divine proportions, where each note revealed the essence of Arda, the home of Middle-earth. It's fascinating to think how music, something so present in our daily lives, was the primordial force of creation in J.R.R. Tolkien's universe. The Ainur were not all the same. They were divided into the Valar, the most powerful, and the Maiar, who played essential but less prominent roles. Imagine the Valar as great architects, sculpting mountains and designing oceans, while the Maiar acted as master craftsmen, refining the details. Ever heard of Gandalf and Sauron? Well, they are Maiar, showing that even secondary beings can drastically influence the fate of Middle-earth. However, not everything was so simple. Among the harmonious melodies arose a dissonance led by Melkor, one of the most powerful of the Valar. His rebellion wasn't just a misplaced note, but an attempt to corrupt creation itself. It's like someone sabotaging a great work of art while it's still being painted. The idea of a force of evil emerging within the very good is one of the pillars that make Tolkien's mythology so intriguing. This struggle between order and chaos had direct repercussions on the shaping of Arda. The great mountains, winding, rivers and dense forests were molded by both harmony and discord. It's interesting to reflect. In our lives, we often face opposing forces shaping our path as well. Learning from these contrasts might be the key to understanding the true essence of the story and even our own reality. And so, the world was formed, but it wasn't empty. Over time, the Ainur descended to inhabit the creation, some as guardian gods, and others taking forms that would shape the narrative in Middle-earth. Every step taken here sets the stage for the fascinating inhabitants of this universe, from the wise elves to the humble hobbits. But before that, how about understanding who these mysterious angelic beings walking among us are, like Gandalf and his kind? Among the many secrets J.R.R. Tolkien wove into his mythology, the Istari, or wizards, hold a special place. These beings are not mere humans with magical gifts. They are Maiar, sent by the Valar directly to Middle-earth during the Third Age. Gandalf, Saruman, Radagast, and others came with a clear mission: to inspire the free peoples in the fight against the shadow that threatened the world. But unlike warriors or kings, they couldn't impose their strength. It's curious, isn't it? They were limited to frail and mortal bodies, so they could guide with wisdom, not brute force. Imagine Gandalf, always with his staff and a gaze full of mystery. He wasn't there to be the hero on the battlefield, but to ignite the flame of courage in others' hearts. Remember how he guided Frodo and the Fellowship of the Ring, often without giving all the answers, but allowing them to grow in courage and cunning. This approach teaches us a powerful lesson. Sometimes leading means empowering others and not solving everything alone. However, not all the Istari followed their purpose faithfully. Saruman, consumed by ambition, chose to tread a dark path, seeking domination instead of guidance. It's an interesting reflection, how even those with noble intentions can lose their way when seduced by power. Tolkien makes it clear that it's not divine origin or title that defines someone, but the choice is made along the journey. Radagast, on the other hand, opted for a different path. While Gandalf cared for the free peoples and Saruman for control, Radagast dedicated himself to nature. He conversed with birds, walked among trees, and listened to the whisper of the wind. Though many underestimated him, his connection to the natural world was vital. It reminds us that everyone has a unique role to play, even if others don't immediately recognize its importance. Thus, the Istari walked among mortals, veiled in their purposes and limited in their power. Their stories show how choices shape destinies, an idea that resonates deeply both in Middle-earth and in our lives. And since we're talking about choices, maybe it's time to meet those who first awakened in Arda, the Elves, whose wisdom and grace are unmatched. When the stars were still the only lights illuminating Middle-earth, the Elves, the firstborn of Ilúvatar, awoke on the shores of Cuiviénen. They are the foundation of Arda, the first to contemplate the world's beauty and sing its wonders. Immortal and endowed with an unparalleled connection to nature, the Elves don't just live. They witness the passage of ages, accumulating wisdom and grace. In their songs and works, you can feel the original harmony created by the Ainur, as if time itself could be shaped by their hands. The Elves are masters of both the arts and war. From Valinor, the home of the Valar, to the realms of Middle-earth. Like Lothlorien and Rivendell, their creations have always been marked by timeless beauty. Consider finely forged swords or enchanted jewels like the Silmarillions, capable of capturing the light of the stars. Every elvish object seems to carry a fragment of their soul. It makes us reflect. What do we create in our lives that reflects our essence? What legacy are we leaving for the future? But don't be fooled by the serene glow of these beings. The Elves also bear the weight of difficult choices and tragedies that have marked their history. Many have split over the ages. Some remained in the immortal lands, while others chose to walk Middle-earth, facing dangers and losses. The journey of the Noldor, who followed Fëanor in search of the Silmarils, is an example of how even the pursuit of something grand can bring terrible consequences. Despite their sorrows, the Elves are resilient. They see beauty in everything, from the rustling of leaves to the sparkle of stars. Perhaps this explains why they are so connected to music and poetry, forms of eternalizing their feelings. Even in moments of uncertainty, like the Battle of Dagorlad against Sauron, they never lost hope. There's a profound lesson here. When everything seems lost, seeking beauty and meaning can give us the strength to carry on. And so, the Elves live, eternal witnesses of what was and what will be. But as they walk with wisdom and grace, there are others who share the world with less time, but an equally bright flame. These are men, the second-born of Ilúvatar, whose mortality makes them so unique and intriguing. Men, known as the second-born of Ilúvatar, brought something unique to Arda, mortality. While elves live forever, men have a different destiny, a short life cycle that makes them intensely connected to the present. This characteristic, seen by many as a weakness, is actually a strength. After all, knowing that time is limited awakens ambition, creativity, and the desire to leave a mark. Ben Tolkien illustrates this in the diverse cultures of men, from the noble Númenóreans to the fearless Rohirrim. Men's mortality is also called the gift of Ilúvatar. Though shrouded in mystery, it suggests that upon death, their souls leave Arda, heading to an unknown fate. It's interesting to note how this idea reflects our own fascination with the afterlife. Think of the great kings of Númenor, like Elendil and Isildur, who fought with honor, aware that their actions would echo beyond death. It makes us reflect, are we living in a way that our choices leave a lasting legacy? In Middle-earth, men are a fascinating paradox. While some, like Aragorn, show loyalty, courage, and wisdom, others let themselves be consumed by ambition and fear, like the treacherous Denethor. This highlights how the freedom men possess to choose their path is both a blessing and a burden. In our lives, we face similar choices. Will we be like Aragorn, following a difficult but honorable path, or will we succumb to pressures like so many others? Culturally, men enriched Middle-earth with impressive stories, music, and kingdoms. Gondor, with its tall towers, is an example of human grandeur, while Rohan, with its vast plains, reflects a simple yet deep connection to the land. Each of these kingdoms shows us that there's no single form of greatness. It can come from both refinement and simplicity. This inspires us to value our own roots and traditions, no matter how small they may seem. And so, men continue to shape Middle-earth with their diversity and passion. Their stories intertwine with those of other peoples, like Elves and Hobbits, creating a rich tapestry of challenges and triumphs. Speaking of diversity, how about we now meet two unique peoples who also call Middle-earth home? The peaceful Hobbits and the stubborn Dwarves. In a tranquil corner of Middle-earth, where green fields stretch as far as the eye can see, live the Hobbits, simple and peaceful beings. Despite their small stature and unassuming lives, they carry surprising strength. In moments of need, think of Frodo and Sam, who, coming from the quiet Shire, defied Sauron himself by carrying the One Ring to Mount Doom. The simplicity of Hobbits teaches us something powerful. Great deeds can come from unexpected places. Hobbits value routine, hearty meals, and the comfort of home. Isn't it curious how they remind us of what truly matters in life? While many in Middle-earth are involved in battles and disputes, Hobbits find happiness in small things, like a well-tended garden or a quiet afternoon. How about reflecting on what brings us peace? Maybe it's time to rediscover those simple moments that nourish our souls. On the other hand, dwarves created by the Valar Aule represent strength and resilience. Inhabitants of the mountains and masters of mining, they forge weapons and jewels of unparalleled quality. Kingdoms like Erebor and Khazad-dûm are living proof of their skill and determination. But dwarves are also known for their stubbornness and pride, which often put them in conflicts. After all, who doesn't have their flaws? Even so, their loyalty to friends is unwavering, as seen in the friendship between Gimli and Legolas. Dwarves also have their peculiar charm. Unlike hobbits, they live to create, explore, and expand. The shine of their jewels and the sound of their forges are their greatest pleasures. This leads us to think, what are we building in our lives? Whether something physical like a project or emotional like a friendship, creating something lasting is one of the greatest legacies we can leave. And so, hobbits and dwarves, despite being so different, share the strength of heart. Their stories show us that no matter the size or origin, everyone has a vital role in a world as vast as Tolkien's. Now, how about we turn our eyes to the majestic creatures that protect nature? Ents and eagles are waiting to share their stories. In the oldest and most mysterious corners of Middle-earth, we find the Ents, the shepherds of trees. Created by Yavanna, the valor of nature, they are guardians of the forests, living symbols of the connection between beings and the natural world. Tall and imposing, the Ents move slowly but with a clear purpose. Think of Treebeard, who led the Ents in the destruction of Isengard. Despite their patience, when provoked, their strength is devastating. It's as if Tolkien is reminding us that even the most peaceful have their limits. Ents also teach us about the importance of preservation. Living for ages, they have witnessed deforestation and destruction caused by greed and war. They speak for those who have no voice, the trees and forest beings. In our reality, this sounds familiar, doesn't it? Protecting nature is a constant challenge. How about planting a tree or supporting environmental initiatives to preserve our own world? While the Ents care for the forests, the great eagles soar the skies of Middle-earth, serving as messengers and allies of the Valar. Led by Gwaihir, the Wind Lord, they possess wisdom and strength beyond the ordinary. Remember how they rescued Frodo and Sam from the slopes of Mount Doom. Eagles are a symbol of hope, always appearing in the most critical moments when everything seems lost. The presence of eagles makes us think of those who help us in times of need. It could be a friend, a mentor, or even a stranger who supported us in a difficult hour. Tolkien inspires us to value these unexpected allies in our lives, just as the eagles were for Frodo. Moreover, we can be those eagles for someone, offering help when it's least expected. Together, Ents and eagles are the silent yet powerful guardians of Middle-earth. They represent the harmony and strength that arise from nature. But not everything in this world is light. Alongside creation, darkness also emerged. Let's meet the feared Dark Lords, Morgoth and Sauron, whose dark ambitions shaped the history of Arda. In the depths of time, even before Sauron rose as the great enemy of Middle-earth, there was Morgoth, the most powerful of the Valar. Originally known as Melkor, he was one of the greatest and brightest spirits created by Eru Ilúvatar. But his ambition corrupted him, and he sought to dominate Arda, shaping it in his own image. It was Morgoth who brought evil into the world, creating the terrible creatures that would haunt Middle-earth for ages. It's intriguing to think how even the grandest beings can lose their way when the thirst for power overshadows their original purpose. Morgoth wasn't alone in his ambitions. Among his most faithful servants was Sauron, a Maya of great talent but equally corrupted. Unlike Morgoth, who destroyed indiscriminately, Sauron preferred to dominate through manipulation and subversion. His greatest achievement was the creation of the One Ring, an object so powerful it could control all the other rings. This difference between the two Dark Lords reflects distinct ways of wielding power, through brute force or cunning. In our reality, these tactics aren't so different from those used by leaders or systems seeking control. The destruction of Morgoth marked the end of the First Age, but the legacy of evil he left behind persisted. It was Sauron who rose from his master's ashes, rebuilding a dark empire in Mordor. He wasn't just a conqueror, but a strategist, spreading fear and corruption across Middle-earth. Remember how he deceived the Elves in the creation of the Rings of Power? This ability to manipulate to achieve his goals makes us reflect on the danger of blindly trusting shiny promises. Despite all the evil they represented, both Morgoth and Sauron show something fascinating: the destructive power of internal corruption. They both started as beings of immense light and potential, but allowed pride and desire to consume them. This leads us to think, what small deviations or selfish choices are we allowing in our lives? Great evils begin with small acts. A lesson Tolkien makes clear in his mythology. Morgoth and Sauron shaped Arda with their dark ambitions, leaving a lasting impact on all the peoples of Middle-earth. But they weren't alone in their campaigns of destruction. Their hordes of orcs, trolls, and balrogs personify the forces of chaos that spread fear and devastation. Let's now explore these creatures and the secrets of their origins. Morgoth and Sauron's forces wouldn't be complete without their armies of terrifying creatures. Among them, orcs hold a central place. It's said they were created by Morgoth through the corruption of elves, a perversion that turned beautiful beings into deformed monsters. More than soldiers, orcs represent the extreme result of manipulation and abuse of power. They are a reflection of how something beautiful can be destroyed when exposed to darkness long enough. It's almost impossible not to draw parallels with our own reality, where systems or individuals can corrupt what was once pure. Trolls, with their brute strength and limited intellect, were molded by Morgoth as a grotesque parody of the Ents. These creatures are the opposite of their inspirations. While Ents protect nature, trolls destroy it. Think of the cave trolls or the fearsome Mordor trolls, used as living weapons in Sauron's armies. Their weaknesses, like vulnerability to sunlight, remind us that even the strongest have their limits. And in life, we often face metaphorical trolls, challenges that seem unbeatable until we find their weak spot. Balrogs, on the other hand, are in an entirely different league. These demons of fire and shadow were originally Maiar, like Gandalf and Sauron, but succumbed to Morgoth's call. Their presence inspires almost primitive fear, as seen in Gandalf's encounter with the Balrog of Moria. Who doesn't remember the iconic line, "You shall not pass"? Balrogs are a living reminder that even the noblest beings can fall, but also that courage can arise in the darkest moments. These creatures not only terrorize, but also serve as narrative tools that explore the effects of evil. They show us that evil doesn't act alone. It corrupts, creates followers, and uses others to achieve its ends. Tolkien uses these creatures to teach us about the importance of recognizing and resisting corruption before it grows. After all, what started with Melkor attracting a few spirits ended up transforming into entire legions of destruction. Behind every orc, troll, or Balrog, there's an origin story that dates back to the eternal conflict between good and evil. But just as there are shadows in Middle-earth, there's also a light that never fades, symbolized by the efforts of the free races and their allies. These stories invite us to reflect on how we handle our own daily battles. And so we conclude this journey through the inhabitants of Middle-earth. And now, what will you do with all this knowledge? Each race, each secret, and each revealed power is not just a lesson about Middle-earth, but also a mirror for our world and our choices. Think, do you act like an elf with wisdom and grace, or like a man driven by ambition and freedom? Maybe your strength comes from the simplicity of hobbits or the determination of dwarves. And so, how do you face the shadows that appear in your path? The truth is, Tolkien didn't just write a fantasy, he gave us a guide on courage, sacrifice, and the impact of our decisions. Now, it's your turn to apply these lessons. What battles do you need to face? What alliances can you strengthen? And most importantly, how can you become the hero of your own journey? Let these stories inspire you to see the world with new eyes, full of possibilities and challenges. And remember, even the smallest can change the course of history, just as a hobbit changed the fate of Middle-earth. If you want to keep unraveling the secrets of this incredible universe and learn lessons that go beyond fantasy, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. There's so much more to explore, and your journey is just beginning. Let's go together.